Go.
We're good?
Yeah, it's starting. It's
Okay,
been.
good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Mr. Justin's Teva class. We are here at Danae out in our garden, and it's not looking so good, friends. Without anyone out here to help me clean it, it's really gotten into disrepair, so I'm going to spend some time today fixing up the garden, cleaning it with you guys. Hopefully you can pay attention, have some fun, maybe clean up something outside at your house, and we'll learn maybe some more things about the garden while there's no one here to check on things, really, while there's no one here to do anything in the garden. We didn't get to plant our spring garden this year, and I'm very sorry about that. But the fall garden will be planted on time. Yes, all you come back to school, I need help with it. Please and thank you. Alright, so if you follow me, we'll start way over here with some of the herbs Mr. Justin had just planted when everything happened and we had to leave school. They are not okay. They're gone. They're dead. It happens in gardening, you know. Sometimes we try and plant things and they don't make it. They die off. But we never give up, and that's the important part. We never stop trying. As long as we keep going, we'll plant new things that'll grow and be very happy. See, the problem was, these things are in containers. And when we plant something in a container, it really needs to be watered on a regular schedule. Otherwise, it's not going to get enough water and the plants are going to die. Things that are planted in the ground can pull more moisture out of the ground with the roots because there's more ground for them to pull water out of. So if you look over here at the jasmine teepee I built, it's doing fabulously. The jasmine is growing really well, and it's even flowering. You can see these little white flowers. It smells like jasmine. It smells really good. The jasmine vine here is planted in the ground, and you can see the difference in alive versus not alive here in the garden based on the bird feather, based on where the plant was planted. So the jasmine is doing really well, and I'm very proud of it. It needs to be trimmed actually a little bit, so maybe next time you guys are here in the garden with me, we can help trim it a little bit and get it nice and pretty again, so that the garden is very aesthetically pleasing and we can have a lot of fun. Alright, so over here, we had just planted a few blueberry bushes, literally like 3 days before everything happened. So, they're not doing so hot either. It happens in the garden, guys. It really requires everyday learning, and that's why we're out here every day with the kids, you guys, to make sure all the plants stay alive. And a lot of branches, unfortunately, have fallen into the garden, and they are making a big mess. So we're just going to check over the fence into the woods back there, and I'll go back later and clean it up so it's not back there all the time. Although they're not completely gone, if you can see, the blueberries were trying. I don't know if you can see it very well, but they were trying to grow. But they were also in the ground. So you're thinking, like the jasmine, they should be blooming really good. Well, the jasmine is about 2 years old now, so it's well established, and it's an older plant. These were young baby plants, and their roots weren't very deep yet, so they didn't have the ability to pull in the water from all over the place. So they're not going to survive as well. So we're going to keep going. Oh my gosh, kids. What is happening to our garden? Look at all these big sticks that keep falling in. Don't throw sticks. Okay? So this is our little firecracker plant. If you look closely, you take the little flower and you crack it, and it makes a little firecracker sound. Really cool little thing. Oh look, a tree. This is where all these sticks have been coming from. This tree fell down during one of the last storms and hit this fence and knocked off all these branches here into the garden. And we can't have that. So I guess it's up to Mr. Justin to fix it. You guys ready? We're going to push on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, push. Woo, almost made it. One more push and I think we're good. I don't think you were really pushing. You got to really help me on this one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. There it goes. I'll go back after we're done here and fix that so it's not back there anymore. So right here is our rosemary. It's a young plant, but it's actually doing really well. And I don't know if you want to smell the rosemary. Can you smell it through the screen? Does that work? No? Yeah. Oh, why not? So I'll smell it. It smells really good. Rosemary is very delicious, used in all sorts of food. We use it a lot when we cook here. Here is our herb garden, really. If you look at the mint that Mr. Justin has been growing, it is doing very well. It is sprouting all over. Now you're seeing, you can't smell it, I know, but it smells amazing. I love mint so much. So we actually have two different types of mint here. And they're both mint, but one of them is very different. You see the leaves? They look very different. One is really big, one is really small. One has all these ridges, one doesn't. And they smell very different too. So one of these is spearmint, and the other one is peppermint. Very different types of mint. One is really good in gum, one is really good in candy canes. They're both very good. Oh look, there's a mushroom growing in here. We don't like mushrooms. Don't eat mushrooms. Not good. Right here is our basil. It is doing very well. Despite being in a container, it is growing like a weed. Basil is also very delicious. Used in all sorts of pastas. We cook with it a lot here. It's very good. But you can see all this basil is flowering. It's called bolting. When a herb flowers like this, it's called bolting. So the bolting is actually not good in these types of plants. It's good for the plant. It's not good for us, the gardeners. The plant uses these flowers to spread its seeds around and make more plants. And that's how it's reproducing. It's really good for the plant too. But as it grows these flowers, it actually turns the leaves a very sour, bitter taste to it. So it doesn't taste as good when it's flowering. So if we'd been here, like all the time, we would have trimmed them all before they'd gotten to this big. But this is actually okay, because next August, and in the fall, when everyone's back at school, this plant will have grown and spread new plants, and it'll be ready again. Be a nice young plant. There's some more mint over here. It really grows like crazy. And you can see the mint over here. What I love about mint is that you can grow it from just the cuttings. So all this mint over here, Mr. Justin cut a few of those vines over there, and I planted them over here, and it is growing into some more mint. Really cool thing about mint. It likes to spread out. And I actually love it. A lot of people don't like it because it grows a little bit out of control. But I think, why not? Let it grow out of control. It's really nice. I like it. Yeah. And so over here is our big, what's the word? You all know what it is. Started with the C. We used it a lot. This is the compost bin. Very heavy. Compost. So what we do is we take all the organic materials that we're not going to use and we compost them and turn them into fertilizer and dirt that we can then spread back into the garden. Help us recycle it. So we take things like leaves and old sticks and eggshells and plant clippings and all sorts of old fruit and things, and we put them here in the compost bin, and we stir it all up like a big pot of soup. We fill it all with water, and then we wait. And we wait, and we wait, we wait, we wait. Stir some more, add some more water, wait some more. And after a couple weeks, months, this will turn into some good, ready dirt. Here, come close. You'll see on top here, it's just leaves and things from the tree. But if we dig down deep, we'll see at the bottom is where the old compost that has been sitting in here for a couple months is sitting. You see how this is starting to turn into dirt? Oh, you see the color? That's real good dirt. That's the kind of dirt we want to be planting in. And it's okay in the garden to get our hands a little bit muddy. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Very dirty. Very muddy. No? Okay. I was hoping maybe we could find a worm or something in here. Lots of insects love to come in here, and we want them in the compost because then when they're here in the compost, they can help decompose it faster. Things like beetles and ants and worms are really good here in the compost. We don't want them so much in the plants, but in the compost it's fine. Alright, so now that my hands are on yucky, we're going to come over here to the hose. My favorite part of gardening, washing our hands. Oh, it's not on. I should have checked that before I started, shouldn't I? Well, Sometimes we get dirty, it's fine. Alright, well if you look here at the ground, you'll see that the plants are actually, we didn't plant anything, but the weeds are growing and spreading like crazy, which is not good. Now it's important to let the ground grow farrow for a while so the plants aren't there, which is what we usually do over the summer. We don't plant anything so that the ground gets a chance to rest and relax before we plant our next crop. Which means that all these weeds and things can't be here. The weeds are sucking up all the good nutrients out of the dirt so that when it comes time for us to plant, they won't be there. The nutrients won't be in the soil and won't be as good to plant. So I'm going to have to weed all these weeds by myself. Unless you get, no? Okay, you guys stay home. I'll do it. But in August and in the fall, when it's time for us to come back to school, I want you all to double up, work twice as hard in this garden to make up for it, because I've been doing it all by myself, and that's not okay. Alright, we'll do one last lap. We'll look at the fruit trees before Mr. Justin goes inside and washes his hands because he's all covered in mud. Alright, so first we have an apple tree. Now this apple tree is a few years old. It's not as tall or as big as it can be, and it doesn't have any apples on it right now because it's not apple season. But it's a very pretty tree, and the apple is a very important tree in Judaism. And so this apple tree is actually has small golden apples, so they're not red apples, they're kind of a yellow color. And we get a few of them occasionally every year, and usually, like last year, not this year, last year, I harvested them all and we made a delicious apple pie. It was the best pie I've ever eaten. We'll try and make you one next year. This here is our olive tree, and we actually had some olives on it for the first time last year, which is very good because olives are a very important fruit in Judaism, especially in Israel, where the tree grows really well. In Florida, it grows okay. It grows way better in Israel than it does in Florida, let me tell you. Lots of yummy olives grow on the trees, and it's very important that we take care of the tree too. It's starting to get a little bit big. I need to trim some of these branches. Alright, this way, over here. A few more trees. I promise, we're getting close. So this tree is growing really well. Look how big it is. This is a pomegranate tree. And it needs to be pruned. It needs to have all some of these branches trimmed back. It's growing a little bit too much. Now it's important to know, just because it's growing really well, doesn't mean it's doing really well. We want to make it so this plant is growing in the way that we want it to, so that it can grow what we want it to grow and grow how we want it to grow. That's an important part of being a gardener. You can't just plant things and walk away and let it do whatever it wants. You have to care for it and tend to it. So later, again, after this video, I'm going to come back out and I'll trim off all these branches and things and help it grow better. And then the last little tree we have is this little tiny plum tree. He's so small. He's starting to get overshadowed by this big tree. We haven't had anyone come out and cut these branches back to give him more sunlight. But he's still a baby, and hopefully he will grow, and there will be mighty plums on it. Hopefully. We'll see. The little garden's really my specialty, growing things. Fruit trees are hit or miss. Alright, well, it's been really fun walking through the garden today, taking stock of everything that we did. Mr. Justin misses all of you so much. Please stay safe and healthy, come back to school soon, and have a really nice week. Shabbat Shalom, friends.